Welcome back to the Your Next Move podcast with me, your host, Kimberly Brown. I am very excited to get into today's topic because we are in the midst of a series. I also have a brand new segment that I'm starting today that I hope that you really like. So let's jump right in. Last week, we started talking about the C method, the self coaching system for clarity, commitment, and change. And we talked about step one, which is clarifying your current reality. Before we jump into anything, New Year's resolution, new goals, new everything else, you really have to do a self audit. Like, where are you right now? What are your patterns? What are your challenges? And what are the things you really and truly want to work on? Self assessment is always key. Today, we're going to talk about curating your knowledge. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but just high level overview. The third step was crafting your action plan. The fourth step was commit to consistency because we know that change does not happen if you are not consistent. And last but not least, we have celebrate and evolve, which something that I am working on is always how to actually celebrate myself. This framework really talks about the self coaching process as a blend of self assessment, knowledge application, action planning, and continuous improvement. So let's dig into step two. If you're following along, this is curate your knowledge. This is the time to sift through everything that you've learned from books, mentors, coaches, etc., to make sure that you understand the ideas and the tools that you have at this current life stage. So, fun fact about me, I am a keeper of all of the things. What do I mean by that? Y'all know already, I am a personal and professional development junkie. I want to go to the conference. I want to take the class. I'm going to go to the event. I'm going to read the book. I'm going to do the thing because it makes me happy, honestly. So not only do I do the thing, but I also keep a record of it. So every class, conference, event that I've attended that had materials or that I've purchased, I have a record of in my Google Drive. And I know that I am not alone. A lot of us have been out there taking classes, courses, conferences. I have a whole bin of conference materials like workbooks and worksheets and guides, downloadable things that I've gotten off the internet. I keep a record of them and they're filed away. So then when I have a question, when I have a new goal, one of the first things I do before going to pay someone new, I look and see what do I have that can work. And I know many high achieving professionals, you may have your own library. And I want you to think about what you already have. And one of the biggest reasons why is because we take in so much. Every single day, we are taking in things on social media. I know just this past week, I was on Threads, which is my new favorite platform. I love Threads. And I saw someone talking about a new platform, Blue Sky. Y'all, that's where I had to draw the line. I was like, what is it? TikTok is going away. Blue Sky is coming. I don't have the capacity for another social media channel at this time. One of the things I may do is go on and save my name in case I want to use it later. But to actually be active and post and determine how to use it, I can't say that that's in my wheelhouse, in my capacity at this time. And I know that's just social media, which is for fun for a lot of people, for work if you are a business owner. But we take in so much, whether it's on social media, it's books, it's conferences, events, things that we've looked at. And what I want you to do is understand when you're looking at all of the materials, all of the events that you've gone to, were you at this thing or reading this thing for learning's sake? Because there's a power in that. My background is on higher education, and I've worked at two Ivy League institutions. And a lot of the Ivy Leagues have had this methodology that you are here to learn. And they have what they call a liberal arts curriculum because it's not about learning how to be an accountant, it's about learning how to learn and exploring. I have a lot more I could say on that. I shall not. But I want you to evaluate all of your tools and say, were you learning because you were curious? Or is this intentional, purpose driven learning that should have been applied that you can resurrect and use to help you reach your goals in 2025? I want you to think about everything you have that may have worked or may not have worked and start to filter it through. I want you to look for ideas, strategies, and frameworks that align with your current goals. When we think about that step one, where you are really doing a self audit of who you are, what you want, what are your gaps, what ideas, strategies, or frameworks align with your current goals. And recognize when certain advice or strategies aren't serving you, which I also think is a really hard thing to do over time. I want you to think about the 80-20 rule as it's applied to personal development, which means focus on 20% of the knowledge that delivers 80% of the results. I'm going to say that again. I want you to focus on the 20% of the knowledge that will deliver 80% of the results. So when you are looking at your arsenal of tools, what are the things that will give you the biggest results? What is the most comprehensive? What is the most helpful? And what should you hone in on and focus and apply as we get into planning for your next step, planning to take action? And I have 3 questions I want to share with you. When you're evaluating the course, the conference, whatever it is, and for some of you who may be listening, like Kimberly, like I ain't got no tools. Like I've attended a lot of stuff, but it's all over the place. I don't know where it is. I want you to also think about this looking at future things. So maybe let's say you attended a conference years ago for your industry, but you didn't take good notes. You didn't make good relationships. You were nervous, didn't network appropriately, the whole nine, right? But you know that that conference is invaluable because you've seen what it's done for other people in the community. If you want to go back, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions too. So, one, is it relevant to your current goals? The book, the conference, the course, whatever it is. Or do you just like it? I know for me, that or do I just like it is a big thing. I was joking, say, playing around on the internet for a very long time. And because of that, I have real and in my head friends who I love and appreciate in business. And I was known previously because I cut this mess out in 2024. I was real good for buying the freebie, joining the course, joining the membership, going to the event because I liked the human. I may not have actually needed the information that was shared, but I liked the human. I was like, I want to support. So I would support. For me, my support came with a price tag. When I look back at some of the things I attended in 2023, 2022, there were some things I should not have been at anymore because they were not relevant to my current goals, to what I was doing. As a professional, the same thing can be true. Is what you're looking at, do you just like it? Or is it actually aligned to what you want to do and where you want to go? The next question is it comprehensive? Now, when I say comprehensive, this is a double edged sword for a few reasons. I want you to look, when you look at all of your tools, you're filtering through everything. I want you to consider what is the most comprehensive tool in your arsenal. What has the most information that will give you the most results? And it's not to say that there may not be levels afterwards. So let's say you have a certification or you didn't finish the certification, but you got the materials. There may be a level 1, level 2, level 3, and you have to start at level 1. There may not be an option that has level 1, 2, and 3 together. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it then. Use your judgment to determine what is the best solution for you. And then next up, the last question I have is, do you have everything you need to take action? Because if we're honest here, you can have the best tools in the world, the best tools, but if you're not ready to take action, you aren't clear, you need some support and accountability, you want some coaching around it, you'd rather be supported in a different container, that's fine. But I want you to be honest, do you have what you need to take action? So, prime example, this past weekend, I decided that I wanted to launch something new, which I'm going to share at the end of the podcast. And I needed to build out the tools to share it with you. I needed to build out pages on a website and link things together to make sure the process for you to enroll was seamless. The first thing I did was, okay, is it relevant to my current goals? I asked myself the question. It's like, yes, it is relevant for my goals. For me to release this into the world and spend time on a weekend doing it, yes, it is relevant to my goals. And when I thought about how I was going to action it, I was like, what is the most comprehensive way for me to put this plan together? And I went through my courses and I found the most end to end process that I could follow to help me get things ready for Monday. And when I thought about it, I'm like, do I have everything I need? Do I need to call someone else? Do I need more help? Do I need a coach? Do I need this? And the answer was no. I could actually do it with the information needed. I just needed the time. So I sat my behind down and I did it. I want you to really go through your arsenal with this lens. Is it relevant to your goals? Is it comprehensive? Do you have everything you need to take action? And we'll talk about what happens when you don't have an arsenal or when you feel like it's not comprehensive enough. So you really are at a pause because there are tools for that. So don't stop listening. There's tools for that. But the last step I want to talk about here, because as we went through, we talked about the importance of curating your knowledge. How do we filter through what you have? I want you to know when to adopt and let go. When you're going through things, if you determine that it's no longer a fit for you, let it go. Release the old method of doing things. Release the old mindsets. Like, even if you've gotten advice prior from a mentor or a coach, and it was amazing for you in that season, and you're looking to revisit it and it doesn't fit, it is okay. Let it go. It's all right. Because when you find yourself trying to fit, what do they say? A square peg into a round hole, you don't want to feel like that. And I can give you an example. So in 2023, I attended all of the usual events I normally attended. I had a routine of events that I really liked attending. I enjoyed attending. I knew people there. I knew people running them. I had friends who attended every year. I'd bring friends with me. I had gotten to in this routine, like, these are the things that I go to. I'm paying for the ticket. I'm going. And in the beginning of the year started a trend that I didn't realize was going to happen of me being in rooms that I did not need to be in anymore. And this has nothing to do with the caliber of the event, with the person hosting the event. It has to do with where my knowledge was. I was putting myself in spaces that no longer aligned with my goals. They didn't align with where I wanted to go personally. They didn't align with where I was professionally and where I wanted to go professionally. And I still attended. I remember one of the first events I was there at, and I started to feel this itch. I felt like I was suffocating because the room felt small to me at that point. I wasn't making connections that were going to help me go to the next level. I found myself in a position where I was mentoring others. I felt like I was giving back and sharing. I even had someone come up to me and say, like, "Oh my God, girl, I didn't think you'd be here." And that rubbed me the wrong way, y'all. That did not feel good. It made me sit back and I was like, huh, you know what? I need to reevaluate where I am. And it's okay. It was sad to not attend. In 2024, I think I shared online that I had long COVID in the beginning of 2024. So it started rough and I had a lot of other priorities. And naturally, I think the long COVID first, I did not have the energy or the capacity to attend things, but I started to realize that I felt better. I felt happier. I didn't have that stress or that dissonance because I had let go of things. And then I started to look at the year moving forward once I started to feel better. What are the things I'd usually attend? What is aligned with where I am and who I want to be and what is not? And I probably unceremoniously just let it go. Let it go. Advice from mentors, books that I read, events I used to go to. I determined I'm going to do what works best for me. And a lot of what works best for me, I already had. And anything I did not have, I went and I sought it out. So I want to speak specifically to the folks who may be listening who are like, Kimberly, I ain't really gone to the things. I really don't know what conferences I should even be at. I'm not sure what books to read. I've never had a coach. I want to validate that that's okay. So, as we're talking about self coaching, when you did that self audit of where you are and where you want to be, and you understand what that gap is, it's all right. It's all right. The first step is knowing. The second step is getting really clear on what you want to do, and then going into deep research. Where do you want to be and who's done it? I'm currently obsessed with the Mel Robbins podcast. And one of the things she said on a recent episode, a lot about goal setting and starting the new year off right, is that there's a blueprint for a lot of things. Before she launched her podcast, she went down a rabbit hole of, okay, how do you launch a good podcast? What do you do? There are so many people who teach on podcasting. And what she did was she went to find the most comprehensive outline, process, person who taught this, who figured it out, and assembled all of her information so that she was able to launch successfully. She mentioned, like, if you want to be a realtor, there's a process to become a realtor. The issue is that many of us, when we realize we want to do A and we don't know how to get there, we just kind of stop and we get overwhelmed, we get frustrated, and you end up being in this cycle of trying to do something, wanting to do something, desiring to do something, but you haven't done anything. And it's because many times you haven't put pen to paper. It's one thing to be on the internet researching all of the things all the time, right? Like, I know that on my health journey, I have always looked up the latest, greatest treatments, gyms, workouts. But if I'm just Googling or YouTubing or wherever I'm doing, it just becomes this jumbled piece of information. We have to start working on a plan. And that's what we're going to talk about in our next episode is what does this plan of action look like? And better yet, if you would like to understand what a plan of action looks like, shameless plug, I am doing a free workshop on January 23rd. I'm hosting a lunch and learn called Next Level Strategy. And during this lunch and learn, we are going to work on developing your career advancement blueprint. So, what is that? Career advancement blueprint is a workshop that I do in corporations that helps individuals come up with their own career roadmap, where you are, where you'd like to go. We're going to have a self assessment where we're going to go through that self audit. I actually have an assessment that I'm going to ask you to take prior to coming to the workshop. So you already come kind of knowing where you are and some developmental opportunities. We're going to define your goals so they are clear and ambitious and not ambiguous. We're going to identify strategic opportunities for skill development, networking, leadership roles, and then we're going to develop that action plan together for the upcoming year. This workshop is actually most likely going to be a two-parter where I'm going to do one, which is completely free. And two, if you would like to go to like a more in-depth strategy session, I'm going to have an offer for that. So if you attend the workshop, I encourage you to register. If you go to KimberlyBOnline.com/N as in Nancy, L as in love, S as in Sam, KimberlyBOnline.com/NLS. It's all in the show notes for you to go ahead and click. You can go ahead and register for that workshop, and it is complimentary. And I am so excited to help you build out this plan, to help you build out this strategy, to help you coach yourself, to help you have a roadmap that you can follow. And we're going to talk about assessing your knowledge, figuring out what the gaps are. The biggest thing is if you realize you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the resources, let's go find it. Let's go find it. You don't need to sit there and say, well, I don't know, so I'm just going to stay here. No, that's not what we're doing. We are going to find the resources. We are going to find you a coach, a book, a class, a course, whatever it is. If you have a goal in mind, we are going to find the knowledge needed to help you bridge that gap because you don't have to go it alone. You don't have to just try and fail and try and fail and try and fail. Now, I will say you can get the perfect plan and you may still try and fail, but you will fail less when you have a plan and you're leveraging knowledge and expertise from folks who've already done it, from books that kind of bring you through a process that prepare you for some of the pitfalls and things that happen. We want you to fail forward, not fail backward. So I have a new segment that I want to share with you. I feel like this is a little disjointed making this segue, but I'm going to do it because, this podcast, we are working on the editing. I feel like this is really, Mylene Teal said it when she came back to podcasting that she had to warm herself up. I feel like I'm getting my reps in and I'm allowing things to come out imperfectly. And it's only going to get better as I continue to podcast more, continue to edit more. But say all that to say, this is a new segment that I'm probably going to start ending our episodes on. And it's called Something I'm Doing That Works. And this is going to be a segment where I share something that I'm doing that works, something that I'm currently actioning every single day that feels good, that has helped me move the needle, that I found insightful, helpful, etc. And something I want to share with you as I'm thinking about the new year, thinking about who I want to become in 2025 and beyond. I recorded affirmations for myself and I started listening to them every morning to start the day. So I went in my phone. So actually, let me take a step back further. I believe in the power of affirmations and speaking positivity over yourself. I believe in journaling in the present tense about goals that I may have for myself. So sometimes I'll journal like I've already accomplished it. I wrote a journal entry of where I want to be on June 1st, 2025. I thought about what are the affirmations that align, that reframe pre-existing thoughts, mindsets, things that I know don't serve future Kimberly. And I wrote affirmations and I wrote them out and then I recorded them. So I just used the voice note on my app and I recorded affirmations for my health, for my relationships and my personal life, and for my business. It's about 2.5 minutes of me just stating the affirmations, and I listen to it every single morning. And even if I hear an affirmation, I'm like, ugh, girl, like you ain't there yet. It's helped me kind of correct it faster. And I find myself when I'm challenged during the day that I recall the affirmation that aligned with whatever I'm challenged by and I say it to myself. Or better yet, I listen to it again. Today, when I put my makeup on before going to some client meetings, I listened to my affirmations a few times. I did a quick face beat, so it was probably about 6 to 8 minutes because I was able to listen to it a little over 3 times. And that's what I listened to as I got myself together. I'm really trying to make sure that I have the tools, which we talked about today, but I want to also dig into making sure I have the mindset. It's one thing to have the tools, it's another thing to believe you have the tools needed to succeed and reach your goals. So I'm consciously working on that. So something I'm doing that works is recording, writing down my affirmations, recording them, and I listen to the recording every single day. So, with that, thank you for joining me again today as step 2 of the self coaching framework. And I hope that you will join me on January 23rd for the next level strategy workshop, completely complimentary. Everything you need is going to be in the show notes. And until then, may your next move be your very best move.